So you might have noticed during the meditation, the things that I wanted to invite us to do is first, quiet the body, quiet the breath. The mind follows the body, and then when we're quiet, we can see a little bit better what's inside us as opposed to when we're running or talking or doing stuff. Just to acknowledge whatever is in the body, either physical discomfort or pain or joy or emotions that come up. So the basic of our practice is an embodied practice. So the body is kind of our when the car tells you, you need to, fill up the oil or you need to whatever. So that's the body. The body's telling us what's going on. We need to pay attention to the body, slow down so we can hear. And then whatever is present, don't fight, don't grasp, just, okay, this is what is happening. Okay. At least allow it to be seen like a toddler that's wants your attention. And if you ignore them, they're going to be more. But if you just tell them, yes, I'm seeing you. Okay. So our body just needs to be seen and heard from us. And then if there's anything that needs our attention of, oh, that feels bad, or, oh, that's painful, or, oh, that's joyful, let me enjoy with you. So I think that those are the first things for us to remember when there are either very joyful times or very painful times or uncertainty or anxiety or exhilaration, just to be with it. And then the second thing I wanted, so the first thing, notice. The second thing is to accept, be compassionate. And then the third thing I think is very important, to notice how fleeting it is, everything, but just by experiencing, like sitting here doing nothing, we can learn about, oh, nothing is permanent. Even, if I have a mosquito itch, even if I don't, how do you say itch it? Scratch it, it will go away eventually. Even if I think when I first feel it, oh, it's going to kill me, I'm going to need to scratch it. And I don't want to do that in front of the group because I'm, trying to show people to be equanimous and steady. And, it will go away. So, and every emotion, every sensation, every relationship, it's going to go away. Even, I mean, you will say, no, I'll never separate from, yeah, but either of you are going to die eventually, right? And I'm a geographer, and I know even mountains are not there forever. It was a time when they were created, and they'll fade away in geological times, of course, not human kind of proportion. So it's very important for us to understand impermanence, how everything changes, nothing is permanent, starting with the breath, with whatever. So with that, having said that, I want to move on to, what have been living or going through this past week. And maybe you didn't vote. Maybe you're not even citizens, as I used to be for many years here. And I couldn't care less, or yes, but not that much, or whatever. Whether you voted right or left or middle or more right or none or whatever. It's not about that. It's about our own humanity and what connects us, what unites us. And one very beautiful and important thing is that in community, we feel stronger, we feel more connected. We don't need to agree on everything. We agree on our own humanity. We agree basically on the fact that nobody wants to suffer. What is suffering for me might be different for you, but from the most fundamental aspects, I don't want to feel alone. I don't want to feel lonely. I want to feel loved. I need to feel safe. I need to know I'm going to have enough resources to survive. I need to feel connection. I need to be free, feel free, especially from myself. I think everybody, no matter their color, their understanding their intellectual capacities, their political sides, their economic resources, whether they are in the jungle or in the most developed tech company, top CEOs, everybody. So we connect on that. So I would like for us to remember that and not be kind of restricted on my tiny little views that are the right views, right? As opposed to the other's views. Who is othering the other, right? I am othering the others. So what about them? Are they othering me also, or what? So I think this is a time to take care of ourselves, you know, in like basic levels: sleep well, eat well, do exercise, hydrate yourself, sleep, get together with your loved ones, and a time for action, for responsibility. No matter what side are you, it's all our responsibility. Even if you're on the side that has the power, it's a huge responsibility, a huge for all. If you're on the side that you wished, your party would have the power, there's a huge responsibility to take action to make sure we all offer our world what our world needs. It's not the time to say, okay, it's done, I'm relieved, oh, I'm so happy, the elections are done, now somebody else will take care of it and I'm gonna enjoy. Everybody has a responsibility, and the responsibility might be, maybe we need to make a revolution, but guess what? The revolution starts here. Everybody needs to make a revolution inside, because we are changing the world from our own personal perspective and life. And we need to tap into our hearts, into our minds, and just make sure we tap into the best that we already possess. Huge capacities for understanding and love and connection. Just we need to quiet down like you did today. Okay, I'm gonna go sit at inside the lake. Maybe you did not do all these, mental reflection, but you deep inside yourself, okay, just by the fact that I go and sit in silence, in quiet for a few minutes, it's gonna provide me with some easiness. It's gonna reconnect me with a deeper nature of myself, being in nature. Being in nature is kind of, nature reminds us of our own nature. It's like nature it is here. It's like a mirror of our nature, like, oh, like I think I read something about Trudy saying just grab a tree, or, be protected by nature itself. We have the ocean here. It's immense, the ocean, right? The mountains, and the teachings of the Buddha, they came up not in a time of peace and easiness and everybody was nice to each other. And no, they came up in times of trouble, in times of, there was a lot of misogyny, there was a lot of castes, there was unease, unrest. So they are made for these times and all times. So I think we can use the resource for any time, because our practice can be a doorway for freedom, a doorway for change, first with ourselves. And then if you want to go out and do whatever, but do it from a place of steadiness or peacefulness, of clarity. You might be angry, could be the case, I don't know. Use the energy just for the good, not to increase division or increase separation. We don't need division or separation. We need kind of a glue, a glue to reconnect. So I don't know how familiar are you with the teachings of the Buddha, but maybe raise a hand who have not heard about, or who have heard about the Four Noble Truths. Okay, so everybody knows there's suffering, there's a cause of suffering, there's a way out of suffering, and that's what we are trying to do, right? Not get rid of suffering, but it doesn't affect us that much. There's a lot of different kinds of suffering and pain. And then after the Four Noble Truths, there came the Noble Eightfold Path. Who's familiar with those? Okay, wonderful. So the first of the Noble Eightfold Path is right view. What does right view mean? Right view mean what you were trying to do at the beginning of the meditation. See what is present. Just try to see clearly, not to be influenced, not to be confused, not to be distorted. See clearly. And right view, I think it applies on everything. If we think things clearly, we will fight less, we will argue less, we would be more clear about how things, if we would see clearly how things are impermanent, we would not suffer that much when something that we love is lost or broken or leave, right? Because we could have known better before. If we would have seen clearly, this is impermanent, this is not going to last always, this is going to change. Okay, then if it changes, I'm either relieved or I'm not so attached. And I think that there might be a lot of ignorance going on right now. And I don't mean ignorance from one or the other, maybe from everyone. And I'm going to tell you what I'm saying this because I want to refer a study that was done by an organization called, I think it's citizen.org, something like that. There was a study that was developed on a project at the Annenberg School of Communications at the University of Pennsylvania. So this organization called kind of citizens.org or like that, did a study between Democrats and Republicans and how they both thought they were perceived by the others. Not how they perceived the others, but how they thought they were perceived by the others. And let me read it because maybe my English would not allow me to explain clear what I want to explain. So I wrote it down. So they kind of took something about how the hostility between them is more, they found out how the hostility between them is more than twice as it really is. What do I mean by that? So they measured the polarization index, which is, they tried to find out how people actually feel about each other. How do we think other people feel about us? How do we dislike each other, but actually we do not dislike each other as much as we think they dislike us. So both think that the hostility between them is more than twice what it is. And so I don't know if I made myself clear. Did anyone understood what I'm trying to say? Yeah, for me, because it was in English, I got like, what are they saying? But I finally understood. And actually I saw graphics, a lot of graphics. And it's like, oh yeah, right? So for me, right view is very important because if we were applying right view, we were not thinking, because we're assuming, we're not seeing, we're assuming, oh, they hate me. No, they don't. And maybe they don't hate me maybe they don't like me as much as I wish, but they don't hate me. They don't dislike me as much as I think. And from the other side, the same. As Cole Arthur Riley's saying, finding peace in the unknown and marveling at mystery. For instance, she writes, may it be a darkness that opens us to the unknown, that we would make peace with uncertainty and marvel at mystery. What I want to say is, why don't we are open to mystery? So what you were doing during the meditation was to be curious. What is going on? She's saying, like, focus on a sensation. What, where, oh, be curious, be open. And then you'll see clearly, are we curious and open to know what everyone else is thinking, feeling, saying, wanting, doing? Or are we totally biased? Biased by, and I'm culprit of this because I'm sure almost everyone here either follows Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, something, the news, whatever. So thanks to the algorithms that for some things might be helpful, we are all getting just the most extreme. And what is the most engaging message you can have? The boring one of neutrality, or the one that, engages and fuels division and reassures you that you are right and they are wrong, right? So, and we're all victims of that without knowing, because we have to acknowledge that, and and it's nobody's fault, it's nobody's bad or wrong. Everybody's doing what they need to do. They need to get followers, so that's the best thing to do. And somebody designed the algorithms perfectly so they can engage people, and the most engaging topics and aspects is the ones that reassure you that you are right, so you can keep doing and saying. So I would like for us to reflect, if am I in that posture? How open am I? How curious am I, to be, to learn and know and talk with the other people, the others that don't think like me, or maybe they are the ignorance. I'm not, no, like I am the ignorant, because I'm believing this and I'm thinking that, and I'm not listening and hearing and being and assuming, why do they do this? Or why they did not do this? Why are the other half of the country wants a different thing? We are all basically trying to find safety, happiness, uh, freedom, etc. It's just we are kind of maybe a little confused. How do we get there? I don't know who's the confused one. I'm just sure everybody, we're all confused. We don't know enough, we don't know better. And if we know enough and if we know better, then we know it's going to change. It's going to be impermanent, and maybe it's going to take time. And maybe great good things will come always. So I think we are here to rehumanize ourselves, not to keep repolarizing or re-dividing or enforcing separation or dividedness. I know this happens even inside families, right? So how are we going to be ready and prepared to be open to accept and love, even though we have differences in certain opinions, right? And not get trapped on the I'm right, you're wrong. So in order for us, if we want to remove that ignorance, that's I'm sure many of you have heard, the cause of suffering is ignorance, right? It's ignorance not in the sense that, oh, I don't know all the countries in the world, all their capitals, right? It's the ignorance more like, do I understand reality? Do I know things as they are? Do I know they are not permanent? Do I know they're changed? Do I know they are rise and fall away? They're not concrete and steady? That kind of wisdom. And then another thing I wanted to talk about is equanimity, which it has kind of two different interpretations or uses. The one is the most common that we know, like, okay, let's be equanimous. So maybe the image of equanimity would be, I'm cool. If something breaks, I'm okay. I'm cool. I'm going to be equanimous. Nothing's going to happen. So it shouldn't be that way. Equanimous means equal anima or state or emotion, so that our emotional state is more level. It doesn't mean we're going to be numb or we're not going to feel. It means we're still going to feel, but that feeling is not going to move us away from our center. Or if it's going to move us away from our center, it's going to be for a short time and not too far away, right? So as we build as we practice the practices that we do here and that we teach here, we're going to get naturally more and more equanimous. It's not about, I'm telling you, okay, from today on, you're going to be equanimous. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to be equanimous. No, because we react without knowing. It's instinctual, but we can train our bodies, we can train our minds by practicing over and over. This is okay. I am fine. This is going to change. I'm going to be sitting for 25 minutes without moving. That's already training our equanimity, right? I'm sitting here, not moving. Super boring. My mind is crazy, just planning the lunch or what movie I'm gonna watch or what. I did not meditate well. No, you're already training yourselves to be okay with whatever it is. It doesn't matter if I like it or not. We're training equanimity. So equanimity is not something that you decide, that you choose, and now I'm gonna be equanimous from now on. It starts building up as you find yourself centering in your breath, in your body, quieting your mind. Just the mind starts quieting itself, centering the nervous system. You're kind of activating the parasympathetic system every time that you go into stress, and it's going to be developing little by little. So that is one of the meanings of equanimity. Kind of where you can find peace no matter the circumstances. And as I mentioned, you're still taken and touched by things that happen, but you don't kind of fall into despair for long time. You might fall for a few seconds and then you remember and come back, or a few days, and then you remember and come back, right? And the other aspect of equanimity has to do with equal animos. Equal animos, which means I have to be loving and caring and compassionate with everybody, with all, not only with the ones that my people or my ones or my family or my loved ones or the ones that I like or are similar to me. That's in these times we need more that description to put in place of equanimity, right? So we are all, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama had said, like we need to be when we think of our opponents, we have to think about them. They're just like me. They are just like me, and hopefully they always also think about us, or also they think about me as she's just like me. She wants freedom, happiness, safety, da, da, da. It's just, let's find out how do we get there. At least we know we can find it here already, right? In each one of us. Then if we want to bring that to our wider communities, which is another level of responsibility, then it requires more effort than just working with myself, right? But if I'm going to go out and try to do something out there, I have to first work with myself to find it here with me, not always trying to find it outside. So equanimity, more in the sense that showing, or it's not that we're gonna go out and I love everybody, no, it's like an internal acknowledgement that every human, even animals that are not like us, they also want to be happy. They also want to be free. They don't want to suffer. They want to be with their whatever equals. They want to feel safe. I don't know about plants, maybe as well. I don't know, but uh, to have that always present, especially, for us that we practice, right? That we were a little bit more conscious and thus a little bit more responsible because we already know, right? That responsibility doesn't feel as like a burden, but more like a freedom, because being responsible gives me the freedom to act, to do, to change. And for that, we use the body and the breath, right? To tap into the body. What am I feeling right now? Where am I? And sometimes even just forgetting about all the, the uh, intellectual arguments, like just stop for a second, pause and see, what am I feeling? Where do I feel it in my body? And when you tap into the body and see where you feel in your body, it might kind of stop. Otherwise, if you keep giving like falling into the loop of, oh yes, whatever, I'm jealous, let's say. I'm not gonna use any example of what other emotions might have been. I'm jealous. Yes, I'm jealous. And because I have the reason to be jealous, because this is what happened and this will happen and it's going to keep doing, and I'm and do. So when we, instead of seeing, how do I feel it in my body, the jealousy? Oh, I feel it here. Maybe it's green, or it's hurting, or it's cutting, or whatever. I don't think jealousy might feel nice in the body. It might feel like yuck, or feel it here or in the chest. I don't know, in my back, or there's fear again together with jealousy, or there's a feeling of unworthiness, or so many things. Just tap into the body, see where do you feel it, and okay, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, nobody likes feeling that. It's okay. Then you kind of stop the train of the, yes, because this and that, and then you get more and more jealous, as opposed to, were you wanting to be free and happy and solve, or were you wanting to get more into suffering and more trapped in your own trap? Nobody else, like the world is out there doing nothing or doing the same that it has been doing. It's your mind that it's leading you to this loop of whatever you put the emotion, that's the one uh, that have been kind of disturbing you lately more, right? So we have the power. We're responsible and we have the power to change. We have the freedom, and we know we have some tools. We know how to do that. We just need to, of course, acknowledge what is present, give us some time. If we need time to rejoice and celebrate, or to mourn and grieve, give a little time to mourn and grieve. If you need to cry or to go celebrate, whatever is wherever you are right now, take your time, acknowledge, give what you need, give to your body what it needs. But whenever you find yourself trapped in the loop, please cut it off. Remember, oh, is this helping me? Is this helping something? Am I adding something to my life? Am I adding something to the life of others? Am I increasing my understanding? Am I building something that will help build bridges? Am I strengthening the beauty that connects us, or am I adding more to disconnect more? What is that I want? And of course, it can go all the way to question yourself. What did you want? Did you want to be right? Or did you want to connect? Sometimes, we fight in an argument just because we want to be fight. We want to be right, as opposed that what is what I wanted. And so the equanimity, again, has to do a lot with, we can gain equanimity sometimes if we haven't yet developed that strength, that inside strength. Maybe we can tap into little tools like, okay, let it go. That's a little tool. Let it go. And as Ajahn Chah says, if you let go a little, you will have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you would have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you will have complete peace. And we will find ourselves unshaken by the mountain, like a mountain, right? Although a mountain, it's gonna disappear eventually, little by little, with the winds, the storms, the showers, little by little. It's gonna take the same time maybe that it took for it to form and to grow. But it's a good example for us and a good reminder to be as strong as a mountain or as steady as a tree. Maybe, yes, our branches and our leaves are going to be moving with the winds and the storm, but maybe we have a very steady, how do you call the main part of trunk? A very steady trunk. And then our roots, don't forget your roots. Our roots, are going to be there. Maybe some branches, we might lose leaves, branches, main branches, even parts of the trunk, but the main trunk and the roots are the ones that are supporting us. So what do we want to feed? We want to feed the roots. And thankfully, we learned that the roots are being taken care of by other trees. Their roots are already, if we want to take that example, that the roots beneath the earth take care of other trees and other roots, and they send elements that are, they need more calcium, they need this, they need more water, they don't. And hopefully that's the way we are, in a way, right? We support each other. We, in whatever we need, whatever we add. So we are as a mountain unmoved, or the example of the ocean and the waves, right? So there's the ocean, there's many waves, but the waves will never change the ocean. The ocean is still there all the time, and there's waves, little and big, and, full of stuff or nothing. The ocean is always there. That's how we want to build our internal resilience, to be strong for ourselves, for others, and for whatever is needed. So there's also, if you feel that your compassion or your love is not as open to others as you would like to, there's also tools to get there. Like the practices we do, that we've been doing for the past few months, about loving kindness, compassion, you set the intention, And even if you don't feel, oh yeah, I love my opponent, I want them to, if it doesn't flow naturally, don't force yourself. But set the intention. I want to wish them the same freedom and happiness and goodness that I wish my loved ones, because I acknowledge that we are all the same deep inside. So those practices that we've been doing, all these months, the loving kindness, compassion. This month was supposed to be empathetic joy. And I know I kind of jumped over it and just I'm talking of all the other three more, but I thought, we might need it now. And so the teachings have to be, like adapted to what's needed, right? And they're all interconnected. So if I don't want to just completely dismiss empathetic joy, but I would say if one of the tools to increase empathetic joy that I found is to be grateful. So I'm sure everybody can find many things to be grateful for. I mean, just the fact that we're sitting here today, like gigantic things we can be grateful for. Last month I was in Cuba, and believe me, they would be any Cuban would be just thinking they are in heaven if they could be sitting here. We have water, we have electricity, we have oil to run our cars. We have met anyways. So I think that gratefulness helps us increase joy. I see that people that are grateful are more joyful. And I would say, no matter what the results of the election were this past Monday, Tuesday, for you or for us, I mean, if your candidate and your party won, you have more than enough reasons to be super grateful and super joyous. If your party and candidates did not won, at least, it wasn't a democratic election. It was really democratic. There was no violence, and everybody got the chance to vote or not vote. And it doesn't matter if it was ignorance, imposition, whatever, manipulate, whatever you want. It's like way much better than in other countries where maybe if the results were not the ones they were expecting, there would already be violence on the streets or taking. So I think we have many, many things. Also, the opportunity that we have that we know we are responsible and we can make the change starting with ourselves. So hopefully, again, whether if we are on one side or the other or none, let's work on eliminating the differences, or at least making them less, not adding more. At least, there's a very famous acronym that's that sometimes we use, that's WAIT, which means why am I talking, right? So, I would apply it not only when I'm talking, when I'm thinking, right? Why am I saying those things to myself? Why am I adding something better? Am I removing something unuseful, unhelpful? Like, why am I talking literally? Like, am I just increasing the aversion? Is it true? And all this has to do with wise speech, right? Is it true what I'm saying? Or it's just a little bit, well, it has a little bit of truth, but I take a lot of pleasure on making it more exaggerating, like, do I really know? that's true, or I just saw a post that, oh, that's easy, I'm going to repeat it. And remember, every post we see is totally already biased because they want our attention. And it's not anyone's fault, but it's our responsibility to know. And now that you know, you're more responsible. Sorry, you decided to come. So yeah, every time we open our mouth, what is what we're going to say? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it timely? Is it necessary? Even so, the best thing is listen. Why don't we listen? Listen and see, and listen with the body. Don't listen with the mind as, oh yeah, they're telling, no, I don't believe what they're saying. Oh, blah, blah. No, just listen, shut your mind and listen and see if we can learn from others, and maybe we can connect. So that's my kind of main take of what I've been reflecting about this week. And there's another thing I wanted to bring just in case. Which is the term, I had to look it up because I did not know if that exists, but I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's called Schadenfreude. Everybody is familiar with that term? Okay. I was not, because in Spanish it's not, but it should be. But so hopefully, if you are, from the side of the party who won or the candidate, you are not having this feeling, which is I'm rejoicing on seeing the others lost or lose or being desperate. And I'm not only that, I'm making fun of them, and because that's the furthest away from compassion, from understanding, from seeing clearly, from building bridges, from building a better world for everyone. And when it's in the hands, in our hands, that we are the ones who won or have the right or whatever, just please remember, don't ever be in that place, right? Maybe sometimes we need to rejoice a little bit because of, you need to kind of release some stress, but do it in your bathroom, where nobody hears you, or don't, just make sure you're not hurting anyone. Just know that you might be predisposing you to repeat that. But I just don't want to be like super strict about, oh, you never say that. You never criticize no one. Yeah, sometimes we need to do that. And you need to do it with a very close friend, so you at least kind of release, or with your therapist, your partner, whatever, but just be aware of how much, how much of that you put that out there, because your mind, you're training your mind also to whatever you do, it's going to learn to repeat it. So Thich Nhat Hanh's simple yet profound words remind us that compassion is not just a feeling, but an active engagement, a commitment to alleviating suffering. So when we, like the tools I was saying to bring when you don't feel it flows to you natural to feel love and compassion towards everyone, because like, I don't feel it, at least set the intention and the wish, may I wish you good. May I wish you this or that. May I include you in my circle of people I care, because we all care about each other. Just a quick reminder that what we practice at the last part of the meditation, the impermanence, that everything changes, nothing's going to be the same. Not the good things, the bad things, they are all going to be changed. They all, so sometimes this is so you don't get attached to any outcome, nothing. And so on closing, because I'm gonna offer us to kind of talk a little bit more. I want you to explore some of what I've been sharing here with you and some of what you've been feeling in the past week or now. I just want to remind us to be aware of our reactions, where do we pay attention, what do we pay attention to, and how does that affect us, our feelings, our thoughts, and when they arise, to be kind to ourselves, but notice, see them, and to be aware of our interactions to others, and maybe start making those who are strangers more part of our human nature. And I want to read a quote of Howard Zinn, which is to be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history, we determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act, in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents, and to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. So I would encourage you to rely on your own practice, rely on nature, rely on community, on your loved ones, on people who are like you, and to feel more comfortable and safe, and start extending your circle over and over, and just hope for the better. It's probably a better opportunity for all of us, I'm sure. Yeah, so I'm gonna just offer the reflections, and you can take them home and reflect if you want. So I wanted to ask if something shifted from Monday night or Tuesday morning to today, to this morning before. Like, if you have noticed that it's the same feeling, the same sensations, the same thoughts from Monday to today, because I want everyone to be aware of how fleeting everything is. And then if you, once it happens again, invite you to identify that in your bodies. I wanted to ask you also, what are you doing to take care of yourselves? And hopefully, if to reflect, and I said that, if you would have felt any delight in your opponents having lost, just it's good to reflect on that. And how can you protect yourself to keep an open heart? Many things to reflect on, but if you take one, at least take one. And thank you for being here, and I hope you all well. Okay, bye everyone on the screen. You can turn on your camera and say goodbye. People are leaving already.
Goodbye, thank you.